If you're a foreign investor or a business owner who is looking to shut down his or her company within the country, then this video is for you. Hello, my name is Cynthia Tishon, and in this video, I'll be walking you through the legal steps for properly closing your company in Nigeria while avoiding legal or unnecessary risks and complications. Now, a lot of foreign investors assume that shutting down their companies in Nigeria is as simple as just stopping operations. But that is a very wrong assumption to have for so many reasons. Number one, while you shut down operations or your company's operations within Nigeria, your company stands a chance of incurring huge tax liabilities and penalties for failure to file or properly file for closing down their companies within Nigeria, right? Another thing is when you just shut down your company operations without going through the proper process or the procedure, it has a great chance of affecting the company's brand reputation both locally and internationally. And that's why this video is very important. Now, what are the ways in which a company can be properly shut down within Nigeria? Now, in summary, there are two ways that this can be done. The first step is what we refer to as voluntary striking off. Now, this type of method applies to companies that have been registered but have not carried out any form of operation since they have been formed. Now, under this type of procedure, what is required is that that company must satisfy or prove to the authorities that they have not carried out any form of business operation since it was formed, and that even at the time of notifying the public of its intention to shut down, there has been no objection to the process, to their decision to shut down the company. Now, once the authorities or the corporate registry is satisfied that these conditions have been met, they will issue the appropriate notice to the company, notifying them that the company has been shut down. Typically, the requirement for this is a board resolution of the members authorizing that the company be shut down through voluntary striking out, and also the company needs to process a newspaper publication which is supposed to last for 28 days, notifying the public of its intention to be shut down and calling for objections from any member of the public. You're also required to file certain statutory fees, and also upon the completion of these processes, the formal acknowledgement informing the company that the company has been shut down will be issued to members of the company. This process is quite straightforward, and it takes a faster time frame to process, and it is basically easy to go through, right? Now, the second method is what we refer to as members voluntary winding up. Only companies that are required to go through this particular option are companies that have gone through or carried out operations since they were formed. So it is only companies that have gone through some kind of business operations or procedures since they were formed that will be required to use this method. This method is actually quite complex and complicated, but if you work with the right team, or when you hire the right team to do this, you'll be able to scale through this seamlessly and without complications. Now, the members voluntary winding up typically involves preparation of a board resolution consenting to the winding up of the company. Also, the creditors must be notified of the company's intentions to be shut down, of course with the promise that they have the capacity they still have the finances and the resources to compensate their creditors, right? Also, a liquidator is actually appointed during this process, and many other regulatory checks are followed and carried out, and then once every legal condition or requirement is satisfied, an acknowledgement granting the application for winding up of the company is officially granted. Now, here are practical steps to take note of if you are shutting down your company in Nigeria, either as a foreigner or even an entrepreneur who lives and works in Nigeria. right? First of all, there must be a board resolution approving the closure of that company. That is very, very essential. Whether you are going to through the voluntary striking off option or the members voluntary winding up, there must be a board resolution. Also, you need to confirm that your company's tax clearance and any other outstanding tax obligation has been settled with the relevant tax authority. This is very important. And apart from the tax authorities, you also need to ensure that the annual returns filing obligation has also been satisfied and filed up to date with the Nigerian Corporate Registry. Another step or practical step to take note of is that necessary forms need to be filed and completed through accredited agents or best insolvency practitioners. Please, this is not a process that is handled by yourself. You need licensed and qualified individuals to go through this, and the qualified individuals, depending on what option you're going for, is either an insolvency practitioner or an accredited agent. They will be able to go through the requirements, help your company meet the requirements to ensure that your company's winding up or striking off process happens smoothly and without complications. Also, if you are going for the members voluntary winding up option, you need to ensure that a liquidator is appointed. Of course, that is mandatory for the winding up process, and that the creditors of the company are also notified, right, by the company. And finally, another step to ensure is that if a formal confirmation from the Nigerian Corporate Registry is issued acknowledging that the company has been shut down. You don't go through this process and just assume that it is completed. You must receive an official acknowledgement letter from the Nigerian Corporate Registry. So these are the things to look out for and the steps to ensure is being put in place when you're handling the shutting down of your company within the country. Now, here are practical and common mistakes to avoid when you're shutting down your company in Nigeria. These practical mistakes are highlighted from the experience we've had working with certain clients when it comes to having their companies shut down. So the number one, stop trying to close your company without clearing your tax obligations. We've seen clients who come to us and say, we want to shut down our company, we've not carried out any business, we do not owe any taxes, and then when we carry out our due diligence on the company, we discover that this company actually has pending tax obligations or annual returns that has not been filed up to date. Please avoid it. Don't just assume, because of course when you're working with us, for instance, we do our due diligence. This helps with fast tracking the process. If the process is commenced and the authorities do their own due diligence and find out that that company is actually owing either tax obligations or any other obligation, you will be required to go and satisfy that obligation. So that means more money and more time wasted. Now, another mistake to avoid is abandoning the company instead of formally closing it. Like I said earlier, assuming that shutting down a company just involves shutting down operations is a very wrong assumption to have, right? There is a formal procedure for doing this, and there are legal steps to carry out beyond just shutting down operations. Whether you've been in business or you've not carried out any form of business operations in Nigeria. Another mistake to avoid is using unqualified agents to handle the process. You stand the risk of having this process being incomplete, and you assume that the process has been completed, meanwhile it's not completed. So if you want to go through this journey or this process and finish it, go through this process to perfection, ensure that you get the right team to help you get this done, right? And the last but not the least mistake is ignoring your permits and expatriate quota as a foreign company. So don't forget that as a foreign company, you're required to have a business permit and expatriate quota when you're doing business in Nigeria. So while having your company shut down in Nigeria, it's important that all other licenses that require renewal, such as expatriate quota and any other sector-specific license, is being sorted out as well, in terms of notifying the relevant authorities that, okay, we are no more operating or doing business in Nigeria. This will help with shutting down any form of obligations that you might be called to ask, called to settle in the future, right? So while you're also going through the winding up process, ensure that every license, permit that is that requires some form of renewal is also being shut down with the relevant authorities as well. And in conclusion, that's it for how to shut down your company properly in Nigeria. I hope you got value from this video. Like I said earlier, the process goes beyond just shutting down operations. There are actually legal procedures to follow, and getting the right team in place will help you afford a smooth transition without complications, and also having at least a fair understanding of what the process involves when it comes to shutting down your company in Nigeria will also set you up for a great success in this venture. I hope you got value from this video once again. If you have questions or you would like to speak with us as regards having your company shut down in Nigeria, please feel free to reach out to us through the contact information displayed on the screen. And if you have questions, you can leave them in the comment section, and we'll ensure that we attend to you as well. And also, please feel free to like this video, share it, and also comment if you found this video very useful. Until I come your way again, bye for now.